I've made a few videos now on the DJI Action 4, and I have to just say, you already know, but I'm super stoked on this camera, and it's really changed the way that I vlog. And I think if you're an owner of this camera or you're looking to buy one, it will change the way that you vlog as well. Because vlogging is actually pretty awkward. Vlogging in public is very awkward, and it's not really something that I find gets easier. It's just something that you kind of you build a muscle for it, kind of like going to the gym. But the moment that you stop doing it, you kind of lose that muscle. But having a smaller camera definitely helps. And having a camera like the Action 4 definitely helps because it's just so easy to put in and out of your pocket, especially if you've got a little microphone attached to it, because that just allows you to speak a little bit more, not as animated and not as loud, and you're still gonna get very clean audio. So what you're listening to right now is a DJI Mic Mini. I thought in today's video I would just share with you some of my settings that I use for the Action 4 on a daily basis. And I'm quite minimal with my camera gear. Like, I pretty much always have this set at 4K 24 frames per second. I rarely use any sort of slow motion or things like that. So just keep that in mind. You can change the settings to suit your needs, but for me, I really like just playing it back at a normal motion. So without further ado, here are my settings for the DJI Action 4 on a daily basis. The first thing is that I almost always shoot with an ND filter. And an ND filter is kind of like sunglasses for your camera. But with action cameras, it can be a little bit tricky, because the moment you add an ND filter, it's going to drastically mess with the image stabilization. That's why you might have noticed during watching my videos the last few days that my stabilization in the Action 4 is not as good as other people's. That's because I have it set at a fixed shutter speed. So my shutter speed is 1/50th of a second, double the frame rate of 24 frames per second. And that's what gives it this nice motion blur. And I personally just love the way that that looks, and that's more important to me than having perfectly stable footage. Like, perfectly stable footage isn't really a requirement for me. It just has to be good enough. And then because I like to keep my shutter speed at 1/50th of a second, you're going to have to be able to adjust your exposure somehow. So I have the ISO set to 100 to 400. This will just choose the best ISO within that range to keep the exposure balanced. And I keep it even too, so no minus or plus on the exposure. I find it's been pretty good so far. Like, generally you want to be facing the sun. You don't want to be facing, or you don't want to have the sun behind you. It's a lot easier if you're facing the sun and it's getting more light hitting you. That brings me to the next part, which I'm always shooting in D-Log M, not the normal color profile. The normal color profile is going to be great, but I like to color grade my footage. It has a very specific look, as you might have noticed. And in order to get that look, I need to be able to do a lot of color grading later. So I use D-Log M. The field of view that I'm pretty much always in is the linear or the standard. This is the D-Warp, so there's no sort of fisheye effect at all. Again, I don't like the action camera look, and that's one reason why I love this camera so much, is that you're able to dial it in and make it look like a true mirrorless camera. And that's why the footage, I think, looks so great and why it's so pleasing. So I've been in this linear mode pretty much the entire time that I've got it. And then as far as these custom parameters go, I dial down the sharpness to -2 and the noise reduction to -2, because again, I'm gonna do a lot of work in post to get this image to look the way that I want, and I don't really need the camera to be adding anything extra to the image. And then white balance, I'm almost always daylight balance at 5600, unless I'm going to be in a room that requires a different white balance. That's just something that you need to get comfortable with. Like, outside on a normal day, 5600 is going to be fine. Inside, you might want to dial it down a little bit to like 4500 or maybe even 3500, depending on how warm your lights are in your home. But almost always I'm shooting this outside during the day, so I leave the white balance locked at 5600. And again, because you're using D-Log, there's a lot more latitude to change that in post. So that's just my general Action 4 camera settings. And yeah, it's really not that complicated. You're gonna get great footage out of this thing, kind of no matter what you do, but that's a little bit of an insight into the way that I've been, just some of the settings I've been using. I might do a color grading video in the future, but I'm not even fully happy with the way that it looks yet. I do like the way it looks, but it could be a little bit better. So let me know if that's a video you'd like to see below, and I will definitely make that happen for you. As far as accessories go, there are 2 or 3 major accessories that I use. And one you already know about. The ND filters are essential to my setup, as well as this magnetic mount from JCC. This magnet mount from JCC is literally, to me, the perfect mount, because I can just quickly fold that up and it's perfectly spaced out in here to be able to go sideways. So if you find anything metal, which there's tons of metal things around, you can easily just take this and, you know, magnetize it right there. You've got the ability to swivel it if you need it to, kind of go down at a different angle. And I've just put kind of a small rig quick release on here. So just like the normal DJI mounts. Let me try and take this off here with one hand. So you can just press this, take it off, and boom, you're back in little action mode. And just what I love about this mount is the simplicity of being able to use it like that, but then also, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but just become, here we go, whoop. Have your own little vlog handle just like this. And I've already talked about it, this is in another video, but I figured I would condense all the information into one video here so you could see it. And that's pretty much it, as well as the DJI Mic Mini, which is right here clipped into my jacket. I hope the sound is good because I'm not using the dead cat. I never use the dead cat because I just like the profile of the way it's at right now. So this is my daily driver. Easily fits right there into the pocket. Boom. As far as compactness goes and versatility, you're not gonna find a better option than this. And if you do, then please drop a link. If you're interested in any of the items that I've talked about in this video, they are linked below in the description for the US and the Canadian Amazon store. So choose the one that works best for you. If you're new here, thanks for being a part of this community. I truly look forward to seeing each and every one of your faces every single time I upload a video. So have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.